You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Tiona Hobson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Once Upon a Time After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Once Upon a Time After Show.
Hello, Oncers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Once Upon a Time. It's Season 3, Episode 10, The New Neverland. I'm Tiona Hobson. Sadly, Kathy Kelly is not with us tonight, but that's okay because I have my other two homegirls here holding down the fort. I'll let them introduce themselves.
West Side?
West Side Riders.
I'm Kaori, Takee, and next to me.
What's up, guys? I'm Marisa Serafini.
Thank you for being here with me tonight, guys.
Of course.
Yeah. Marisa, I'm glad you're sitting here with us.
I know. It's
I'm
on panel.
Yeah.
It's a delight.
It's a delight
But
to have you
Kathy's
here.
not here.
I know, but Kathy's missing, so we'll get it together one
Missing
day.
puzzle
One
pieces
day.
all
One
the
day
time.
we will get this together. Let's get into tonight's episode. A lot of stuff happened and a lot of setup happened for the winter finale. I wanted to start by talking about the Charmings and their honeymoon. We got to see, what happened. We've seen what happened after Regina left the wedding, but we never saw what happened after, or what Regina did after the wedding. We never saw what the Charmings did after the wedding. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of exciting to see their honeymoon.
Not your typical honeymoon.
Yeah, not your typical honeymoon, They're adventure seekers, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Well, Snow is. Snow actually doesn't want to go on a honeymoon because she wants to fight back against Regina's threats against the kingdom. Charming, being the sweet, charming person that he is, like, no, sweetie, take your mind off of things. Let's go on a honeymoon. So she chooses to go to the summer palace where she tells Grumpy that there's a weapon there that might be able to help defeat Regina once and for all. And so they get there, and one thing that Corey and I realized in this scene was that her cloak, Snow's cloak, when she walked into the summer palace was amazing.
We both said we want that at the same time.
Pretty cool.
And it is cold in LA right now. I know people think that's a joke when people say it's cold in LA, but it is cold right now. And that cloak, all I could think of was how warm it would keep me because
I thought that too.
it just was so fierce. So props to the costume department
Awesome.
because
Well, if you think about it, they are shooting in Vancouver. It's colder up there, so it might actually help her on set.
yeah, it might help her out a little bit. Well, she tries to sneak out of the palace, which proves to be not the best idea because Charming knows her so well that he even knew that she was up to something. Mm-hmm. She tells him about the creature that lives in a cave that the servants used to talk about, and it's Medusa.
Yes, Medusa.
Okay.
Go for it. I was like, I already know Marisa has something to say about this.
All right, so I don't know if you guys listened to our other podcast, Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. We had a prediction that one of the characters in that show is Medusa. And then now that we have seen Medusa in actual once, but the way that they showed her, she's all gold and mysterious looking. We never really saw a human form, so it could be, if they did a crossover, it could be the same person from Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Have they been having a lot of crossovers?
They've
had
a couple.
mentions here and there. Not so much like people per se, but like they mentioned Granny and like a couple choice locations and stuff. But because there's a character in Wonderland that we think is Medusa. So I think if they ever did a crossover, it would be with
It could still
her.
work, especially since that person on Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, it was from years ago, and we don't know how long ago, so she could have been in one land and gone to another land. We don't know. They also had Robin Hood on Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, so there has been
Who
a
was
little
the same
bit.
person.
Nice.
I think he was
Sweet.
the only person who really crossed.
Yeah, who really crossed. So there has been something. So hopefully the Medusa thing can still stand. So we find out that Snow's plan is to turn Regina into stone so that she's out of their hairs. But one thing that I'm glad Charming brought up was that, they had Regina caught and she was about to be executed, and Snow stopped it. So why the sudden change of heart? Like, what's going to make it different this time for her?
But see, I thought that was a big difference between killing her and turning her into stone, because stone is, I guess, reversible, especially after seeing this episode. It is reversible. So I did see a difference there. And sorry. I predicted that Snow wanted a family, and that's why, like, her feelings changed. Now there's something bigger, and it's not just the kingdom. It's the fact that she wants a child to live in a safe place.
Yeah, and I can understand why Regina would want, Snow would want Regina just to be turned into stone. It's containing her in a way. It's trapping her magic, so she can't use her powers against anyone. It's just literally keeping her in stone so she can't do any harm, and as opposed to actually killing and committing murder.
Yeah.
So the way of stoning is a little bit more humane.
A little bit.
A little bit more.
A little bit.
That's true. So they make it to the entrance of Medusa's lair, which looks exactly like Regina's, what's it called, a mausoleum or something?
Yeah, I call her arsenal.
Her arsenal, her whatever it's called. It looked very similar. I couldn't tell if it was the exact same place, but definitely had some similarities there. They are trying to, get Medusa going. They work out this plan where Charming distracts her and she's running. Snow tries to chop off her head with the sword and it broke, which I guess no one saw that coming.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming
It looked
at all.
like it got the head chopped off. I was like, wow, that was a really good shot on her part without really looking. But I don't know, it went by so fast that the sword just kind of split.
Yeah, and I also have this huge fear of snakes, so the whole Medusa snake
true. Oh,
yeah,
like
you were
thing, I
scared.
couldn't really watch too closely during this scene because I know it's fake and it was all animated, but
That Medusa was scary looking.
yeah, she was
like,
scary looking.
Whoa.
That little rattle at the end,
Did anyone get a throwback for Clash of the Titans, the 1981?
Yes.
Not the shitty Sam Worthington one. But,
Oh, I was going to say the 1981 shitty. But
yeah. No, 1981's awesome with Harry Hamlin. Come on.
All right, but they had a better cast in that one. But yes, I got that feel for it, although it wasn't stop motion.
And that's why I was surprised that her sword didn't chop off her head, because usually that was going to happen.
that always works for when you were dealing with
come
a
on,
Medusa.
with Medusa.
Just chop the head off. It works like a charm. At this point, Charming they're trying to get out of there now because they're like, okay, bad plan, exit, stage right. And on their way out, Medusa's tentacle or something grabs Snow. Tail?
Yes. Yeah.
I guess it's not a tentacle because she's not an octopus.
Tail. She has a serpent.
Actually, it's her body.
Her
right?
body whips around and grabs Snow, and she, in order to save her, Charming ends up getting stoned.
Petrified.
Into stone.
Yeah, we could say that. Yeah.
Yeah. He turns into stone. That's what we'll say.
Gosh. Okay.
And now Snow's, she's staying around. She's like, how am I going to fix this? Regina, who has been watching through the shield, could she just pop up
Kind of
anywhere?
like a mirror.
It was kind of like a mirror.
that was
looking
strange.
glass.
Looking
way.
glass. Being petrified, a looking glass. So the looking glass, she's talking to Snow like, wow, I didn't realize how easy it would be for me to sit back and watch you defeat yourself, because this was all her idea, and it's basically her fault that Charming's now like this. So that gives Snow the idea to use the shield as a mirror to get Medusa to ultimately defeat herself by turning herself into stone, which then releases Charming from the spell. So
That was
everyone
really
who was
fast.
stoned,
It was really
did they all
fast.
come back to life?
That's what I want to know.
Where were the other petrified people, if people have gone in there to...
That's the only thing I could assume is that everyone who got petrified by Medusa is now free of the petrification. But then what happens to Medusa? She's just there.
I don't know, because I thought the thing with people getting turned back to human form is that, like, you have to actually take off her head. This part, she just turned into stone, but she wasn't really dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was kind of conflicting a little bit in that way. It was kind of a contradiction. But I did, going back to Regina appearing in the Shield. I liked how they had that because like all evil queens and all the Disney movies and stuff always turn up in like mirrors or anything reflective. And so it really goes to show that Regina at that time was really evil.
Yeah.
And she looks really good there too.
She did look really good. I like
she had an attitude.
Yeah.
Like,
And another thing that we talked about when we were watching the episode was that when Charming got turned into the stone figure, I immediately thought of Prince Eric in The Little Mermaid, the statue that was sunken on the ship that she has in her closet of things.
Her arsenal.
Her arsenal of things, and that her dad
trove.
her trove. Her treasure trove. So I thought that was a nice little connection to Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
we did see her tonight too.
I did find it ironic that Regina wanted to destroy her, Snow, and somehow she's the one that saved her because she's the one that gave her the idea that Medusa can destroy herself. So that was kind of cool.
And she does that a lot. So once Charming is back to being charming, Snow finally tells him that the reason why, she really wanted to defeat Regina was because she didn't want to start a family in a world where she didn't feel like it was safe. But ultimately she realizes that if it's not Regina, it will be some other threat, and she wants to get it on and popping. It's time to start popping out babies.
With that dance.
I love how many times they said that in tonight's episode. I was like, they're bringing it up a lot. It was, but it was still comedic at every time they said it.
Yeah, and I wonder at this point, I'm sure at this point, Jennifer Goodwin knew she was pregnant, even if it wasn't announced yet.
Right.
So even during these scenes, it must have been a nice little, inside joke between her and Josh Dallas, just talking about starting a family when she knew she had a baby inside her.
So they've been wanting a family ever since they've been in the Enchanted Forest up to present day. It's been a while.
And it got taken away from them. But I like that the overall message here was the message that was carried over into current Storybrooke, which is that, you have to look for the moments, the good moments and the bad. There's always going to be those bad moments, but you have to live for the good ones.
Yeah, that silver lining.
The silver lining. So the silver lining here is that now we have fake Henry in Storybrooke causing all sorts of trouble for everyone. But it starts on a good note. Belle takes Ariel down to the docks where Eric's working and chopping fish, which also reminded me of The Little Mermaid.
Yes, of course.
And then, they're happily reunited. I was kind of sad that we didn't get to see more of them because, we got a whole episode about their story, and then it was kind of broken up. They're reunited.
That's what I thought too. I was very surprised that we only see their unification for a snippet and they kiss and then that's it. I thought when you mentioned that Eric was a statue in her arsenal, whatever we want to call it, I thought, oh, maybe that's gonna tie into present day and maybe something's gonna happen, but nothing happened, and I was a little disappointed by that.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it was nice to see this quick moment because that's what it all really led up to. Is they're reuniting and now they're finally back together. So I think it was just, that little bow on top of that storyline.
But he seems so nervous. He wasn't as excited as I would hope a man who hasn't
And I guess he decided to stay single instead of, because in the original Little Mermaid, he ends up marrying, someone else. So I kind of thought that was going to be the twist in their story, was that when she sees him again, he's actually married and in love with someone else.
And I'm surprised also that he's a fisherman too. Isn't he just a prince?
The irony. The irony.
But he's also the hottest Disney prince, just saying out there.
Cartoon version?
Cartoon version.
Okay.
Cartoons are hot sometimes.
Cartoons are hot sometimes. So while they're having their happy reunion, Belle looks up in the sky, and here comes the flying ship. With everyone from Team Save Henry coming back.
Jolly Roger.
The Jolly Roger is
It looked like
back.
a skull coming in, I thought.
It did kind of look weird coming in from
Like
that
a face,
distance.
like a creepy face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's happy to see them. The whole town, or at least, the people that we know in the town, all came out and were applauding for everyone. Everyone's hugging, and then you see Regina kind of off on her own. And I felt bad for her because it's like when she saved Emma and Snow in season 2, when they got brought back from the
right.
Enchanted Forest, and everyone's all happy and doing their thing, and she's left out again.
Yeah, poor Regina.
But I was happy that Snow did point out, you know, that
Yes.
this wouldn't have been possible without Regina's help, and so they did find a way to include her and everything. But one thing that Kaori pointed out was, why isn't anyone surprised that Neil's alive? Because last they heard, he had been shot
Yeah.
and sent through a portal, and everyone assumed he was dead.
a little too quick for me to be.
And now everyone's just like, oh, hey, you're back too.
What's up, Neil?
Give you a hug. Instead of being like, I thought you were dead.
Yeah.
How'd you get with them?
Well, if you think about it, you know, at the end of season 2, really the only person who might have known that Neil was possibly dead was Belle, because he was with Rumple. But all that happened so fast. Like they had the whole shootout at that one place with the fish, the tuna factory place, and then they all just hopped onto the ship really fast.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't think they had enough time to tell the whole town that, oh, Neil is possibly dead and he was shot.
So I would
don't-
assume a Belle would let
Yeah.
them know what's up.
yeah.
When she's like, you know, protecting everyone, being like, okay, this is the deal. This is what happened.
And I loved
I think she did say it in the episode when
I think like
we got to see Storybrooke a couple episodes ago, and it was the flashback to, you know, what happened right after they left. I thought she said something about, you know, they took Henry and they shot Neil, and he went through a portal.
that's what I thought too. Anyway,
Let us know if you guys remember this
Yeah.
or not, because it's slipping my mind right now, and I feel like it happened, but I'm not.
Yeah, so
positive.
much happens.
So
All the
much
time.
happens all the time.
But I do love the moment when all of them were getting off the ship. It was kind of like a clown car. I was like, oh yeah, Wendy's on the ship.
Yeah, it was
and Felix
unreal.
is on the ship. All these people just kept coming off. Like they came back with more people than they did when they first got there. So
yeah, it
just
was like
really
a
fun.
montage of coming back from war.
yeah, it did.
It really did.
With everyone being greeted and stuff. It was very cute. At this point, we find out that, you know, the shadow is trapped in the sail, and the only person who control it is Peter Pan, who we have trapped in a box. Except that they don't.
Okay, you guys,
Yeah.
if you can explain it to me, why is Peter Pan the one that can control the shadow, even though I believe it was Rumple who controlled it to get onto the sail?
Because they captured it,
Okay.
Yeah,
and then I think when they
that
put
was a
it
joint effort. You know, there
Okay.
were more
Yeah.
people that went into capturing that one shadow than just Rumple.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just got very confused.
because they used the
there.
lamp to capture
Right.
it, and then I think when they released it, they just
had
kind of
Regina
controlled it
too.
into the sail. So you have to have some sort of magic to get it out, probably the way that they did the spell with it in there.
Do you guys wonder why they didn't try to, once they got back to Storybrooke, capture the shadow again so it wouldn't. I mean, to leave it hanging out in the sail, it's a little dangerous.
I mean,
right?
it's kind of like when, you
A
know,
little
you
risky.
save Henry and then you leave him alone in the bottom of the boat.
Yeah, just a little
You know,
bit,
it's like,
right?
who does that? you spend all this time protecting and saving this person, and then you let them out of your sight.
Yeah.
They
for
must
two
have been like too happy to be home to not even think about
Yeah,
it.
because, I mean, it even took them a while to get David the elixir
Yeah.
to fix him, because I kept screaming like, why aren't they fixing him yet?
Yeah.
Why aren't they fixing him
Why
yet?
hasn't he killed over?
Yeah.
He's drinking this water. How much water does
He's
he
talking
have?
about lasagna. He needs to drink that potion. Yes.
And at this point, we see, I don't know what to call him, because he's Henry, but he's Peter Pan. Henry Pan. Henry.
Let's say we see Henry.
We see Henry
'Cause it is
talking
Henry.
to Felix.
I believe Adam Horowitz hashtag Panry.
Henry.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call
Henry.
Henry.
Henry is talking to Felix, which conveniently no one really notices. And then they're talking about their plan, and that's when he's like, oh, I have to get you in trouble because I need them to believe me
Trust
and
me.
trust me. So he calls over everyone like, hey, moms,
Such a
Felix is still out. What are we going to do about him?
I mean, that's already suspect because Henry's not like that
Yeah, Henry
anyway.
would have
Yeah.
just called someone out.
Everything that Henry did in this episode was so uncharacteristic
Exactly.
of Henry that I was very surprised Regina didn't figure it out. But then I wasn't, because I could also understand that all she wants is Henry's love, and that's what she's getting.
Yeah.
And Pan clearly knows how to feed into that. So
Yep.
A little bit of television there. But I'm glad Emma was the one who like really picked up on all the cues.
that gut feeling. Her and Olivia Pope got those gut feelings, and they just go with it.
I
and
don't
they
watch
stick
Scandal.
to it.
Yeah.
I should.
Oh, you should, yeah. Anyways, so Rumpel locks away Pandora's box with Peter Pan in it in the safe in the bottom of his shop, and says that the only person who can open it is him. So they know that Pan won't get released under any circumstances.
I think it was interesting how even though Pan's the only one who can open that or like reverse the spell that he put upon the box, I thought it was interesting how everyone knows the location. I was like, if you're the only one who's gonna go there anyways, why do everyone else have to know where it is?
Yeah.
It's true.
So I was like, what's the point of them knowing if they can't even get into it? I mean, I get
It was to let us know as viewers.
but I don't know. It was
Maybe
just a
he's
little-
trying to show them that he is changing. You know, he's letting them know where it is. You still can't touch it, but at least I'm letting you know that it's here
I
and
love
it's
Rumpel.
safe. And
Gosh, I love Rumple.
I just thought it was interesting.
oh, and I love the conversation that Rumpel and Belle had about, you know, your future is safe now because the boy wasn't your undoing. And Belle's like, it's time for you to think about your future. I thought he was going to drop down on one knee and propose at that point, but it didn't happen that way.
I don't think it'll ever happen. Like,
But wouldn't it be
so-
fun to have a wedding in Storybrooke? We've seen a wedding in the Enchanted Forest.
Who would
but
go to Rumpel's wedding other than me?
I think people would come, but they'd sit on the bride's side. The groom might not have that many people on his side, but the bride would get some seat
Although
fillers.
we had a very cute family moment when they were talking about family once he gave the elixir to
Yeah.
Prince
We
Charming.
are
That was really
family
cute.
now.
I
Yeah.
loved that.
And they spent a lot of
Progress.
time at Granny's today, which was nice to see them back in their old stomping ground. This is where they kind of go, the post-party celebration still going on. Emma gives Henry the book, the storybook, and his face is a little confused, almost like, what is this? Because he clearly doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
And that's when Emma gets her first inkling that something is off with Henry because he's not as excited to see it. And
that could be even more dangerous because with the end of the episode, and I'm not going to try to jump ahead here, but Pan reading that book and getting the backstory of all the people in Storybrooke, he could really use that for his advantage against everybody else.
that's how he knew about Regina's magic place. I didn't put that together
That's true.
I was wondering, you know, he was asking all these questions because I mean,
Possibly, yeah.
we can talk about it. You know, he asked to stay with Regina when Emma tries to get it. Like it's bedtime, he has to stay with Regina, and then when he's there, he's asking her a lot of questions about did she bring her magic with her, where is it kept, and this is all stuff that the real Henry knows.
Yeah.
About-
And so Pan reading the book, he could get the stories of everybody at Storybrooke. He could like really use that book to his advantage.
Yeah. What else did we see, by the way, guys? We saw the Avengers comic book.
Yes, we saw the
that-
Avengers comic book.
Shout out to Avengers.
Shout out.
Shout out to Avengers. And then, we also had at the diner at Granny's, Regina goes to Blue, the Blue Fairy, and wants her to give Tink her wings back,
Yep.
which I thought was very nice of Regina to follow through with that. And,
Yeah.
you know, she is a changed person, so I will say that I am loving Regina.
And Blue was a little snippy today.
She was.
Again, like, I don't know, something with the Tink really irks her. And every time she sees Tink,
Right.
it's just like,
What is it about her?
she gets really dismissive.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand having a people that kind of always goes against your wishes and demands and stuff. So you might just get to the point where anytime someone tells you something, you just like already brush them off. But it seems like it got to that point with Tink and Blue's relationship.
But those are almost the best pupils because you can learn so much from them. There's something different, and so something's gonna. I think Tink's got something going on.
Yeah, well, what we learn is that she has to believe in herself because that's how she got the pixie dust to work the first time.
Right.
And Blue even says, you know, how can I believe in you if you don't even believe in yourself? So that's something she's going to need to work on, clearly. And then, sorry, I was looking at my phone. Someone was tweeting me.
Okay, how about how Neil wants to go on a date with Emma.
Yes.
And he tells her, "Hey, let's go on a date. It doesn't have to be a date. I'll wait for you the next day, and if you don't come, you don't come." She doesn't show up.
No.
How'd you guys? I was upset about this. Telling Tiona, this is BS. I think Emma totally messed up. She'd rather be sitting on a rock instead of going on a date. And why should they be on a date? They have a kid. They've already declared their love for each other.
But
I don't think any.
I think she's staying true to what she said in Neverland, that she wants to focus on Henry.
But
She's
yeah,
not
he's back.
interested. He's back, but she still has her doubts about things. I mean, and he's back, but he literally just got back. Can she enjoy having her child for a day before she's being ambushed?
Wouldn't you want to enjoy your child with the father as well? Have a family again?
But
I'm not falling for this triangle thing with Captain Hook. I am not falling for it. I'm not okay with it.
And well, Emma did say the line that something about that feeling that she has to focus on Henry because she doesn't trust what's going on.
Her gut is telling her something's wrong.
Yeah, her mind is like all focused on Henry right now that she can't think about dating Neil.
And I'm sorry, give her a day. They just got back. Like,
true.
don't bombard me with this. We just walked off the ship and you're asking me out on a date again.
But that's what shocks me, though, is she finally has her whole family back and she doesn't want to be with Neil again. That's what I don't understand.
It's also like what Snow says to her. Snow used to be the same way. And what we saw in the flashback is that she can't think about her family because she doesn't feel like she will ever have time for it because there's always something threatening them. So she's just trying to get, every time she takes a step forward, something comes and takes her 3 steps back. So she's just trying to get her head above water for a little while and be able to breathe and have a normal life, because ever since Henry came into her life has not been normal. And I think
And she points that out too.
Yeah, she points that out too. And then, we have Gold, who finally gives the cure to David, and he takes it, and
that was a little anticlimactic.
It was a little
He
anticlimactic.
just drinks this potion that looks like water and like, oh, tingle, and then, oh, I'm all better.
And it was especially anticlimactic because he wasn't showing any signs of like being weak or anything. If he had been on a bed,
he just wants
coughing
to get it on
and
with
and all they want to do.
Margaret.
Those two just are like some rabbits. They just are. They were very horny this episode. I mean,
they just couldn't help themselves.
Help it.
True love.
I mean,
I've got Rachel in the chat saying that she's also 100% Swan Fire, just letting you know. I like that, Swan Fire.
Swan Fire. I still want him to work a little bit harder to get her back.
Why? He has. Okay.
I just do.
Well,
And I think that Hook is intriguing.
Emma was considering going out with Neil. She didn't do it right now, but she was considering it. So it might not be just like, not like she just ended it and calls it quits. She's thinking
about it. And I loved her daddy talk. When Charming went to go find her when she didn't show up for the date. I thought that was a very cute moment because it finally shows them kind of connecting. He even says, when him and Mary Margaret were sitting at the table, he's like, I got this one. And, he goes to find her and make sure that she's okay. So I really enjoyed that. And I hope that we get more of those moments with her and her parents.
There's the same parallelism too, with David said to Emma, you got to find the good moments within all the bad. Just what Snow has said to him in Enchanted Forest. So I liked how he brought that and applied it to Emma's life.
Apparently, Colin on Twitter called his little notification a hooker bell.
Hooker bell.
I like that.
Hooker for life.
Yes.
Hookers for life. Yes.
Hooker bell.
Hooker bell. Hooker
I can go with
I
that.
think Colin O'Donoghue just loves the word hooker.
I think he does too.
Probably it.
It's just a great hashtag name. I love it. So then we get into the exciting part because we saw that Henry, what were we calling him? The fake Henry?
Henry.
He has released, he's like, it's time to start some mischief. He's released the shadow, and then we finally see the shadow in action after Hook, who is stumbling around drunk, tries to get Tink to sleep with him. We hear screaming, and we see that it's Emma has an awkward moment. Like, wait, were you guys? And Hook's like, maybe we were.
So funny.
Jealous
much?
Funny.
I know you have feelings for me. But the scream is coming from Blue. And so she's being chased by the shadow. The shadow yanks off her shadow
That,
and
like, painful.
kills her. And I am so sad about this because,
That sucks because she ended on a really bad note.
yeah, she ended off of like being a bad,
So quick.
just like a mean person in a moment, you know, and then
And that was the last we saw of her.
that's the last we saw of her.
I'm hoping there's a way to get your shadows back. I think we were
yeah, I hope
talking
so.
about
yeah, we were
that.
talking maybe like if they got the shadow back and put it into the body that she could come back. I just
Kind of
don't.
like Hercules style, you know,
Yeah.
putting
Yeah.
the life essence back into.
Just like Greg.
It just seemed too soon and sudden to take a character who's been around for this long and just have them completely just be dead like that.
And also
Yeah.
Neil, was it Neil who checked the pulse? I forgot. I think it was Neil.
I think
right?
it was Neil.
He did say she's gone.
Yeah, they didn't
Yeah.
say dead. They just
Yeah,
said
they did not say
gone.
dead. So let's
But
hope
then
for
they
the best.
covered her with the gray blanket like it was a crime scene.
Maybe she's keeping her warm, you know, keeping her warm till
Keeping her
till
warm,
then.
I mean,
she has no soul right now.
someone needs to do
so-
like a thing. But at this point is when Panry, I got it right that time.
Very nice.
Henry.
Turns and is like, "Oh, but Mom, I thought you said I was safe, and the shadows, Pan can still hurt me.
Protect me."
Protect me." And so Regina takes him to her mausoleum.
Vault.
Yeah, sure. Mausoleum vault. also
Vault.
known, yeah.
What her place of magic, to because it's the one place in Storybrooke that even the shadow can't get into. And while they're in there, Panry is, you know, scoping out the place. Regina says, "Make sure you don't touch anything." He sees a bottle, gives her a hug, grabs the bottle, and knocks her out. Now, my question for this is, how did he know which bottle to
That's what I
grab?
was
Because
wondering, too.
nothing's clearly labeled in there.
No.
And it could have been something that actually, you know, turned her into a frog, or which would have helped him too, I guess. Or it could have, you know, been something that turned her into a dragon,
Right.
then she would have.
I wondered
killed
that
him.
too. I think maybe Panry read the book and it might have been a detail in the book that we just
Oh.
haven't seen as an audience.
Smart.
Maybe.
That's possible.
That's a good one,
It might
Marisa.
be.
It might be that. Well, while Regina's taking a nap, everyone else has gone to Gold. Everyone else has gone to Gold to get Pandora's box. Gold is hesitant to give it to anyone because he's like, "Hey, I'm off duty for the day. What's getting Pan out of this box actually going to do?" And they're like, "No, it's going to stop him because we're going to kill him." And so they take Pandora's box to the town line where Emma has decided that she will be the one to cross over to the land of no magic, release Pan over there where he can't use magic to hurt her, and she's gonna shoot him dead. Which is kind of a very graphic image of an adult thinking to shoot a child, even though, you know, we know that Pan isn't a child and he's an evil person. It's still just that imagery of a adult shooting a child that doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
That's funny because
violent.
it didn't
Yeah.
bother me at all because honestly, Peter Pan is the actor who plays him is such a good actor. He has such a maturity that I didn't feel like it was a kid.
It does.
You know?
He doesn't feel like a kid, but I guess just because I wasn't allowed to even point fake guns at people, you know, when you're a kid, and something about a gun.
He's so evil though.
I know,
Yeah,
but
I
still,
think it's the
he's
thought
a kid.
of shooting a kid, yeah.
Yeah,
Even though
it's-
he's not a kid.
He's not a kid, but it's still in your mind, like you see an adult standing there with a gun pointed
I
at
guess.
a child, and you're like, whoa, 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 what is happening here?
Am I
Like,
evil? I didn't see it. Maybe.
I don't know. Well, you do love Rumple and Regina,
I
so
do. That's true.
You might have an evil bone in there
you
somewhere.
might have a little bit of that going on. But when Pan comes out of the box, he turns and is like, "Mom, don't shoot me." So they have to have this whole thing. Gold is screaming, "Don't listen to him. This is one of his tricks. Shoot him, shoot him." Emma puts him up to the ultimate test. You know, there's all these moments. We get back to the moments in life. You know, Pan could have learned anything from Henry while Henry was in his captivity, but he can't know everything. So she asked him, when was the first time they connected? And I mean, gosh, Robbie K is just so great because the way that he just embodied, you know, and the whole emotion that is Henry that he would have had in that moment, you know, sharing about when they were at his castle and, you know, the book. And it was just such a beautiful moment. And that's when Emma believes him. That's when everyone starts believing him. And then Emma's like, I was right. There was something wrong with this Henry. But now they have to find him. And so they go and they get outside of Regina's Palace of Magic. I changed the name
Every time it's a different name.
It's a different
I
name
love
every time. And who was Hook and Tink are already there, but they can't get in. Gold tries to do some magic and can't get in either, and he has to really work for it. But when they go inside, they find Regina, they revive her, they look at what he stole from there, and drum roll, oh my gosh, he stole the curse.
Yep.
And we see him and Felix, that punk,
He is a punk.
standing there, and he's explaining that this is the curse that brought everyone to Storybrooke in the first place, erased their memories, the whole curse shebang all over again, and that he wants to do it again, and this time him and Felix will be in charge, and they will create the new Neverland.
Which goes back to if Pan read the book, he'll know all the characters and then like reset everybody because he knows their background, and he could really use that to his advantage.
Wow, I'm really slow because I just put together again. Oh yeah, I was wondering how he knew about this curse, and I just said, oh yeah, to that. I'm really slow tonight.
I'm on Team Tiona too. I'm there with you.
Because I was wondering, I was like, wait a minute, how did he know about the curse? Did he? Well, I mean, I guess he knew because he had his spies. He also had, his
Wait, did the
spies
book
out
have
there
the
doing
curse
stuff.
in it too?
Yeah, it talked about the
Look
curse.
how slow I am.
The thing
Slower than you.
the
Sorry.
The thing that makes me question is that because we know how the curse has to get enacted, you have to take the heart of a true loved one. So who will Pan take the heart from?
See, I have all these theories about this, but that'll get in predictions.
Who is Pan's true love? Or like the thing that like you hold most dear.
That'll be in
whatever
predictions.
Those lines are.
Yeah, because I think I know
I have
what
a
you're
huge
thinking
one, yes.
of that, and I'm thinking of someone for that too. Before we get into all that, though, I want to thank everyone for watching us on YouTube and listening to us on iTunes. If you have a sec, please take 2 seconds to go onto iTunes, rate us, give us 5 stars, leave a comment there. We got some awesome reviews this week on iTunes, so we want to give a shout out to Ryan at Atlas and Butterfly Mom 89. Thank you for your kind words and for your 5 stars. It really did make my week reading those.
Yes.
It was really nice.
You guys are amazing.
You know, I just wanted to bring up that, because I'm a Regina fan, that I was so surprised throughout the whole time that she didn't realize that something was going on with Henry, being his mom and all, just how Emma has that motherly instinct, but she didn't. But then when she explained that it was because she really wanted to be loved, I felt so bad for her.
Yeah, because that was the thing as I was watching the episode that I kept thinking about. Why is it Regina seeing that Henry is acting completely out of character? Even the way he was so scared of Pan coming to get him. It's like Henry was never a scaredy cat. He's so brave and just like, no, I know that you guys got my back and we can take him down together. Henry would have been all on board and not that way. So the only thing I could think to explain it was that Regina was so lonely and so wanted his love so badly that she would believe anything that was said to her to make her feel that way.
Yeah, and we saw in the last episode Regina's whole backstory and her true love for Henry, because Henry's the one thing that she really truly cares about. And so when Henry was kind of reciprocating that love back to her in this episode, all she got was like, yes, oh my God, this is all I really wanted from Henry, is to protect him and love him and stuff. And so it was her opportunity to show that affection, and then everything else was just brushed aside, and she didn't think about that. Oh, my son could be, Pan instead of Henry. So I think she just overlooked all that because she just really truly had that chance to love and protect Henry like she always wanted.
I felt bad for her though.
I felt really bad for her.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that whole thing pans out. Is there anything else you guys wanted to bring up? I didn't even realize they did that.
Just the Wendy got young Wendy
got reunited with her
older brothers now, which they're gonna go home. How is that gonna happen?
And
but that was a nice little reunion because Bae was also there.
Yeah,
they had a group hug.
Group hug.
And if you go home, are your parents there waiting for you? do you still have a house in London?
Does Wendy grow up?
Yeah, I was like,
suddenly?
because you're in Maine now, you have to get to London. Can you leave Storybrooke now?
I was wondering that too, but then because they weren't there for the curse, are they allowed to
They're different
go
stories.
back and
Strange,
forth
Yeah.
over
Right.
the town line? Do they know how to get out of there? Do they? There's so many questions, and I mean, I know that everything kind of got distracted because there's an evil shadow going around, but I kind of wish we got to see a little bit more of these reunions, like with Ariel and with Wendy and her brothers, because we spent so much time caring about everyone getting back
Yeah.
together that I kind of felt like the quick payoff
It was
wasn't
so-
really worth it.
Exactly, just like how the elixir healed his wounds so quickly when we were worried for maybe 5 episodes that he was going to die or how was he going to make it,
And
how
we
they
didn't
have
even
children.
see like a visual representation of what
No.
the
Yeah.
elixir was doing. Oh, it's really physically healing him. We didn't see that.
like,
so,
done.
I don't know. It was
Okay.
just things like a lot of loose ends tied up
Yeah.
in this episode, which I don't mind, but I kind of want to see the visual aspects and them
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
getting tied up.
Sure.
And a lot of things set up for next week because somehow they have to stop this curse from being redone
Oh,
again
yeah,
because
you and
I can't
I-
live through that again. But I have some predictions on that as well.
So do I.
But before we get into that, let's talk news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, I have my news on my computer because I couldn't get to a printer. So, casting news. Lost alumna Rebecca Mader has been cast in a mysterious role for the second half of the season. They're not saying what her role will be, but she will be a major character with a major arc, and she will be a villain. So there is a lot
That's
of
huge.
There's a lot of talk going around right now of who she could be. It will be revealed after next week's episode, the winter finale, in the teaser that they do for the remainder of the
Oh.
season. You will see who she is. But a lot of talk right now is that she could be Cruella de Vil. Because it said it's an iconic villain who everyone knows. And I mean, we already have Pongo in Storybrooke.
That's true.
Adam Horowitz had said at Comic-Con, that Cruella de Vil was on the list of villains to
Really?
be brought into the storyline.
But she has like no magic. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you never know with their version of it. In other casting news, Alexandra Metz from the originals has been cast as Rapunzel. So we will be seeing her. It's so far just one episode. It's episode 14, which will start sometime in March. And I'm just excited because I think it's great that they're it's a strange casting choice because the Rapunzel we all know has like long blonde flowy hair
Yeah,
and this girl is
she's
black.
brunette.
But I think it's a nice little twist to it, and it's a good way to bring in more diversity to the show because outside of Lana Parrilla, you don't really have in your main cast any sort of diversity going on. We had Mulan for a little bit, and then she's gone.
Yeah, what
We
happened
have a lot
to
of British
them?
people in the cast. But,
Oh my gosh, what happened to Regina and Robin Hood?
Yeah, I wrote that down. I was like, Regina and Robin Hood. Like, there's all these questions, they're still
Yeah.
out there. So I think it'll be interesting to see how this Rapunzel plays out. And
Yep,
how
I
long
agree.
her weave's going to be.
I saw that tweet of yours.
Yeah. And I want to say thank you to at Ash Marie XOXO and at Chris James W for sending me links to news and gossip for tonight because then I didn't have to go find it myself. So
Very good news and gossip.
Good for
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And then, and one other thing is there's episode 13's title has been released. It is called Witch Hunt. So episode 12, which is the first one back, is New York City Serenade, and then we go into Witch Hunt. So something to fester over and try to figure out. So let's get into our predictions.
Okay.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Are you gonna start, Corey?
Okay.
Because you're like really excited.
I was waiting, but okay. My prediction is, and I'm sure Tiona knows what I'm thinking because you're staring at me like, okay, all right. So the young boy is going to be Rumple's undoing. I believe that that's going to be Henry, but now I think it's going to be Panry. He's going to take his son's heart because that's the only guy he really, 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 really loves. But I don't want Rumple to die, so there's got to be a way.
There's got to be a way. My prediction is that they will stop this curse from happening because they failed to stop Regina from getting the curse cast, so they can't fail twice. You know, like, you can't have the same thing happen again. So they didn't stop it the last time, so this time they will stop it, because you have to have that balance in storylines and stuff. Plus, I cannot live through another season of people not knowing who they are.
Me neither. I can't do it.
I don't want to see that happen again, because we just got over it and then we got taken away, and I don't want to see that. So don't do it.
Although
please
it
don't.
would be fun to see them feel like at the very beginning of them not realizing who they are, because especially now that we have more characters, then we can finally get their perspective of, oh, who the hell am I?
I wonder in this alternate universe, you know, because like David was married to, I forget her name, you know, when he didn't know who he
Kathy.
was. So who is Emma with in this alternate world when the curse, if the curse were to happen?
True.
Yeah,
Is she with Neil? Is she with Hook? Is she with Grumpy? I mean, the possibilities are endless of who people could end up with.
Especially, and they did say that they could have power over things, which probably maybe more people could come back over the line, or that would be interesting. But Pongo, we mentioned Pongo. I wonder if we would ever see his human identity.
I think that's
Because
possible.
I know that he's a dog, and in the 101 Dalmatians storyline that we just see him as a dog, but he can talk in the Disney movie. I mean, granted, he's an animated character, but it's once. I mean, come on. They usually, everyone has a dual personality, dual
Jiminy
identity.
Cricket.
Yeah, he was a person. So if they're gonna bring Cruella, I think we should see a human form of Pongo.
That would be fun.
That
to
would
see.
be fun.
And I also still want to know, I know we said this a little while ago, what happened with Regina and Robin Hood? When is he coming back into the picture? Because we were promised that she would have a love interest. We met him at like episode 3 or something, and we haven't seen him since. So I need Regina to have some lovin' so that she can.
Yeah, because she's missing it.
Yeah, she's missing it.
And
She
what's
needs some.
going on with Aurora and Mulan, since we're talking about these people that we haven't seen in a while? I would love to see more of them.
Yeah, because they were up to something out there.
Yeah, Mulan was in love.
Yeah, with possibly a girl.
Yes.
And we don't know what happened. Did they
Yes.
get their happy
They just
ending?
Maybe.
Oh, Mulan went and joined Robin Hood, so that's when
Yeah,
they'll all
right.
come
so
back
all
together.
got to come together.
So, guys, make sure you let us know what you want to see happen. We'll keep telling you what we want to see happen. Where can they follow you guys on social media?
Hashtag Swanfire. You can follow me at KAORIOUS, Kaorius.
And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV.
Hashtag Hooker for Life. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Tiona Hobson. You can find all of the shows we do here at AfterBuzz TV at AfterBuzz TV. Make sure you tune in next week for the winter finale. It should be an epic episode, and we're very excited, and we'll see you then.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Hookers for Life.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.